Hi, I'm Ben, co-creator of Callipeg, and today we will see how Callipeg Studio works with an animation example we will make together step by step. Callipeg Studio is your new animation software available on Mac and Windows. You can get it from your Mac App Store and your Microsoft Store, and it's a one-time purchase of €35 per operating system with updates included. When you open Callipeg Studio for the first time, you have the studio here, and your studio will contain not as many shots that I have here, but you will have two animation examples, complete shots that you can explore, along with a starting guide. We will go deeper into the features of the studio in a future video, a tutorial that will gather everything, but today we just want to make one animation shot. And you will see that you will learn already many different features in the timeline, the layers, the export, the image references, so there's still a lot you will learn in that video here. I tap on the plus icon here, shot, and I create a 1920 by 1080 pixels shot. You have different presets here, and you can create shots up to 4K definition. You can also scroll with the mouse wheel here, or just tap on it, use an numpad, and press enter to create it. Here is the interface of Callipeg Studio. If you're coming from Callipeg on iPad or Android tablets, you can see that there is some differences. You can choose your brushes from here. By the way, we added some new brushes in Callipeg Studio. Tap outside to close it. You can choose the size of your brush here, the opacity of the brush. You can zoom in the canvas like that, rotate, double tap on the value to reset it. You can also use keyboard shortcuts, Command plus a drag to zoom in and out, Shift plus drag to rotate, and Option plus drag to pan. I set Shift and Alt on my buttons here, so I can rotate while hovering and also pan without even touching the screen. And if your tablet is also a touch screen, you can just rotate, zoom in, out like this with your fingers. Your timeline is here. The different types of layers are here. Our drawing sheets will be here. You have your colors here. And one of the new features of Callipeg Studio is that you can move the panels around. You just grab it by the top with the handle, and it becomes a new window that you can also set on another screen. I can do that with the brushes also, and even with the timeline, if I want to have my timeline just on the side. To put it back where it is, you can just close. And you can also lock in other parts of the interface. For example, I will take it here, put my timeline up there, take my zoom and angle and put it down here. So you can customize your interface to your needs. I like the classic interface also, so I will just put it down there, put that back as well. First, I will choose a brush. I think the pencil here will be quite okay for what I want to do. You can undo with the button here. You can also clear with that here, or use the keyboard shortcuts, Command Z and Command Shift Z. And at any point, you can go to your settings, shortcuts, and assign shortcuts to specific actions. For example, I decided to have decrease brush size on key and increase brush size on L. So I can just do this. I also want to have some image reference for my B. So I tap here on the reference icon. I have my reference window here. I can tap on import, select my image, open. And there is no limit in the number of references you can add. I will choose my brush. So I go here and I will use Indian ink with the rotation style set to random to have that kind of hairy line. And I will draw the first pose of my animation. I want it to be kind of hairy. So I will make some lines like this. I might add some antennas like that, 6 legs. And the wings will be on another layer. Then I can scrub to the next drawing here. I'll just go with the arrows, right and left. And you can see the onion skin of the previous drawing. You can disable or enable the onion skin on all your layers here. On this layer only here. And you can tap just with one click here to enable or disable the onion skin. And you can go to 8 sheets before and 8 sheets after. So now I will just draw again over that same drawing to make a boiling line. So we'll do 3 drawings of the same pose. The goal is to be as close as possible, and I just draw over it like this. I tend to do many different lines, so it's a bit longer. I can also rotate with Shift, pan with Option. At any point I can go to the eraser here and select the same brush so it doesn't feel different. It can be important to just rotate your canvas so you can have the right position of the wrist. We have 2 drawings now, and I can make a third one. Whenever you draw, it will automatically create a new sheet, but you can also double tap to create one. And here you can see I can also have the second drawing. So So I can choose between the first one or the second one. For a bounding line, I tend to go to the first one, so I can have the same reference for the second drawing and the third drawing. Whenever I draw a bounding line effect, I tend to do 3 of them, because 2 is not enough. 4 could be even better, but 3 seems to be the nice balance. Now we have the 3 drawings for a bounding line. I can also activate within settings in the timeline tab, scrubbing disables onion skin. So now when I scrub, not with the keyboard shortcuts, but with the stylus here, or with the flip button, there is no onion skin anymore. And by the way, that's the flip button. You can tap on it and move it anywhere, and just slide on it to flip in your animation. You have all the options. You can flip on frames, on sheets. Here it's the same, but if you have sheets longer, it will be better to flip on sheets. You can also flip in a circular way, like this. You can add the flip loop. And if you don't want the flip button in your interface, you can just go to the settings here, flip, and disable the show flip button. And a nice addition is that you can go with your mouse on the flip button and use the scrolling wheel to just flip in your animation. So now I can tap on play here. It's a bit too much because it's 24 frames per second. So I just want to select that with a simple drag. That's a difference from Callipeg on tablet. So I just select by dragging like this. And then in the menu, I can tap on the set timing. And if I maintain the touch, I can just slide to 2. So I can extend the sheets. And now it looks as I wish for my animation. Oh, and here I have the flip loop option, so it will just loop between everything. So I can just tap here, disable the flip loop, so I can go to other parts of my timeline as well with the arrows. And I also want to make some rotation of the bee, so I can use the out of pegs features and then the in-between assist just a bit after. So let's use the first one as a reference. I can just long touch and drag up and down to increase or decrease the opacity. I can right click on it to access this menu, or just tap on the little arrow at the top and go to edit when the out of pegs is enabled. And to enable the out of pegs, you can just tap here. It's enabled when there is a dot in it. So I will just put it a bit more like this, validate by tapping on it. And then I want to make it a bit more rotating, so I can select with the selection tool. You can see here in the tool options that it changes depending on what you are using. So I use the selection with a quick transform, because if I don't, I would just select and have to click on transform by hand. But if I do quick transform, I can just select and it will transform automatically. Okay, I validate with enter or with that button. I go back to the brush with B, and the antennas will move a bit with it. Work on this so we can feel a bit of the rotation, and that can go a bit to the left. And I even want to transform it a bit in perspective, so I will go to transform, select perspective transformation, and move my perspective for a bit, like this. It seems a bit flat, so I will just draw it like this maybe. It seems a bit better. Here it's a backup notification. Just know that your work is saved every 30 seconds and every time you draw a stroke, but you can create a .peg file backup somewhere. So I would just create, and it will go to what I set here. So on my end, it's on iCloud. It seems a bit too small also, because for now I just want to have a rotation. So I will do that again, go back to affine transformation, and I maintain command to just keep the ratio. I can also do that here. Okay, so just a simple rotation. I will extend it so it makes 2 drawings, so I can double tap and set to 2 like this, or I can just also zoom in. And by the way, the same shortcuts are applied to the timeline. So you can command drag and option drag. And here you can see the arrows when I hover. And that way I don't even need to select with a double tap, I can just extend like this. Now I want to make it in the other side. So I will go here, select that as a reference, activate the onion skin again. I can also do that with the O shortcut. And now I can just draw the head on the other side and move the body a bit, maybe. I'm not sure it works. I will just select everything except the head and do it like that. That could be okay. I can also disable completely the onion skin just to work only with the flip. So the legs are here, the antennas. Okay, so now I just want to make some in-betweens. And by the way, here, if I want it to be always 2 frames long, I can just go to the settings, timeline sheet length, and set it to 2. So now when I draw, it will create a 2 frames long sheet automatically. I can double tap and delete. So I want to make some in-betweens between this, and between this and this. So for that, I have different solutions. First, I will extend that. I can select and then go here, create in-between structure, but I can also extend and then split with a double click and drag. If I split from up to down, it will keep my drawing. And if I split from bottom to up, it will create an empty sheet. So that's a good way to make in-betweens. Now I want to see my onion skin before and after. Here it's a pretty small difference, but I can already show you how to use the in-between assist. Make sure that the out of pegs is enabled, then go on the menu on one of your onion skins, in-between assist, and now you can use one reference point, 2 reference points, and go to the edit mode if you want to. So I will go with 2 reference points, edit mode, select here, for example, the eye here, and the eyes here and here. And now I can zoom in and just place my in-between where I want to. I can also set it to, for example, the middle, so it was already there. Now I will set it to done, select only the one I want. So I will want maybe the 2 of them actually, and just set something here. And that way I make a nice in-between. And for the body, maybe I don't need it that much, so I will just disable it and watch the normal onion skinning without any position change. And then I draw it about the middle. Also, this animation will be kind of rough, so I don't go to a lot of details for the tie down. So the model could be a bit changing over time, but that's just for the example. I'm okay with this one, so I will just make another in between. First, I will duplicate that one here, double tap to select, and then duplicate, and I slide it while maintaining it. So I have again that, and then it goes to here. Maybe I will just also set the head a bit lower so I can have kind of an arc, and here I want an in between. Maybe that is a bit too much to the left, so I will put it here. Okay, so I select in between structure, onion skin, out of pegs, in between assist, 2 points edit mode. Let's say bottom of the eye, bottom of the eye. And now I want to also play on the arc, so I will just do this. And I can flip to see if it's like I want. So it seems to be good. And now I will just draw my in-between. Okay. And I think I will draw that in the middle each time. And I tend to flip all the time to just see if everything works. That here has to follow a round shape for it to be in volume. Okay. Maybe it's even better if it goes to the right, like this. In animation, you always have to find the right place, you change it over time until you find the perfect spot. So now we will go back from this to this. So I will just maybe use those 2 again. So I select, I duplicate with content, and I invert, and that should do it. I also see here I would need to draw a bit more like this, just to show more of the shape. It loses its roundness. Maybe here it's too much. Maybe I could make them more like 4. Let's see. And if I put everything on 4s. Here you see that it's playing until that red part. So you can just go anywhere else and tap out to move the mark out marker. I think I wish that to still be on 2s. So I will just do that. You can tap and long touch on the magnet tool to set them together. And also when nothing is selected, and to unselect you can just tap anywhere or tap on the sheets. I can long touch on the magnet for it to snap. For now it's too quick. I want to loop that part here. You can just select, go here, create a cycle, and set it, for example, to 4 repetitions. I can tap here to see my entire timeline. That could be also on 2s. And the head here could start to go up this, and this one will go a bit more. Okay, so that's it for the animation of the bee. By the way, I can just double tap here and name it bee body. You can play with the opacity with that icon here, dragging up and down. You can set it on and off with the eye, and you can also find some options in the menu. And if you want to see more of your timeline, you can just drag it by here to extend or decrease the size of your layer stack. Now I want to add some wings on my bee, so I will create a new layer from the same layer, menu, or right click, duplicate without content, And now I have 2 layers. By the way, you can also go here until you see the double arrows to extend your timeline. And my second layer will be wings. And to see better what I am doing, I can just decrease the opacity here by hand. Or I can go to that icon here, tap on it, dim other layers, and it will automatically dim to that value. So here, all the other layers outside of the current one will be decreased to 15% opacity. So you can see here, it will go back when it's current. So let's draw some wings. Maybe I can do something like this. And a third one. It's not that easy to make it a kind of a motion blur. Rough, but still interesting to see. I think it could be nice here. But now I would have to maybe extend it. So I guess I will do this, delete, then copy this one with the copy icon here, or Command C, paste it here, the second one, copy, paste it here, and the third one, copy and paste it here. I do that because it will not be the same location all the time. So I select that, I put it on tools. So here it's still the same, but here it changes. So I will adapt, maybe with a transformation in perspective, like that. Same goes here, perspective, and here it's coming back. Maybe I could just see if I extend that, does it work or not on the entire animation? It seems to be almost okay, so I will just maybe do it like this, take that there, duplicate it, then break the cycle, break also the linked sheets, and now I will just adapt whenever I need to. So here I guess it's just a bit more there, here like this, because it's moving, so I move it here also. I want to stay here on those lines. I just have to erase some parts of the wings when it's needed, so it doesn't go over the rest of the body. Especially here and here. So now I have my completed bee animation. I will just delete that, maybe extend the mark out. And now let's add some colors. I will also duplicate without content, put it under the bee body layer. I will just start by naming it color. And to move a layer, you have to go on that part here and then long touch and drag the layer. And I will disable the dim other layers. For the colors, I can have the full opacity. And now you can see here, I have an empty layer with the same structure for my colors. My colors are here. I can make it a new panel, only that, for example. And I can choose the color I want. I will go for kind of a flashy yellow. And I can either draw like this to have kind of a sketchy line, or I can use the color fill, but here, since my line is too sketchy, it will work only within closed shapes. So it's not adapted to what I do here. But I could also tap again on the draw freehand to go to the freehand filled shape and do that. But in my case, I like to make it like this, just to have more of a rough color. I can increase the size of the brush, and then it's just coloring. And I will choose another color for the head, maybe like this. I could set a new layer for the head. Just to simplify, I will do all my colors within one layer, but I tend to do one layer for each color so I can change them later with some alpha lock. So you can go here, alpha lock, choose another color and just do that, or even quicker like this, up, to replace a color. So I will pick that again, disable the alpha lock, the filled shape, and go back to my coloring. I will add a color layer for the wings, same process. Wings, duplicate without content, I put it under. If I don't see the name entirely, I can just extend like that. Bee wings colors. And to see it a bit more, because it will be white and my canvas color is already white, I can just tap here and change it. And now I will see my colors better. So I will just go for that, for example. Do kind of some scribbles, I guess. They could go under the bee body. I didn't start at the beginning, I don't know why. And then as a final touch, I will just add some white, maybe like this, here and there. So that's the final B animation with colors. And then I want to add a background to it, and it will be an image that I will import. So I can close that. I could add a new drawing layer, and then by selecting a sheet here, I could import an image. But I would just go to Add Layer, Import, Files, select my background, and open. It will create a new layer containing my image. So I can just go back to affine transformation, and then transform it like this. Put it here, validate, and then I extend it. I will name it background, put it under. Let's see how it looks. I want to decrease the opacity a bit. Okay, so I have my background. You could, of course, add some drawing layers, draw over it, make the entire background drawings, and animate the grass, the water, the plants, but I won't do that in that demonstration. Now we will use transformation layers to add some movement without adding any more drawings. For that, I will add a new transformation layer. I will select with command several layers, everything but the background, and I will slide them inside the transformation layer. So now I have that layer, which contains all my animation. The first movement I want to add is an up and down movement, like this. So I can move it here. It will create some keys. I will go to frame 4, put it down like that. And then I want to duplicate that all along. So I go to the graph editor here. I select all of this. I even put it to 5 because I started my animation on 1. And by the way, you can go here in general and start contain frame at 0 if you want to. So I will do that. And now it's 4. I copy all of this. I go to 8, paste. And I will do that for the entire length. 16, paste, 32, paste, and 48, paste. And since I want to make my animation a bit longer, maybe after, I will just select all of that with that icon here, copy, and then go to 64 and paste. So I have a bit longer if I want to. So now I have that up and down movement. I also want the cycle to be a bit longer. So I will select this, duplicate it with content here, and also extend the background. So now I have about 3 seconds of animation, which is okay for that shot. And now I will add another transformation layer so the bee can fly across the shot. I go on that transformation layer here, that I can also rename, for example, T bee body. Add a new transformation layer so I can combine that transformation and this transformation. I will set it a bit smaller like that. And it can start here, for example. You can also play with the rotation. And at the end, it will be, let's say, here. And when it moves here, I want to add a new position and scale and just move it a bit like this and to the bottom. So we can feel a bit of the 3D space when she does that. Of course, for the background, you could also add a video layer and add a video for it to be a bit more lively. And here, as a final touch, I want to add a sound effect. So I will add an audio layer, select my bee buzzing sound effect, open. I can slide like this until it begins. Here I can go at the end and tap on out. So I can only play and export that portion. I can play with the volume of the layer, with the volume of the clip, and with the volume of the master here. Now I want to export it as a video. You can just go to the settings here, export, sequence, MP4, or any other type of exports. You can also export to other software if you need to. So MP4, I export audio, and I tap on export. I name it Bee Animation, and I can open it in my Finder. Maybe you made your first animation ever with this video, so congrats to you. And I hope that was useful to learn more about Callipeg Studio and how it works. We will make more tutorials and animation demonstrations like that on Callipeg Studio. So if you have any questions, anything you would like to see in future videos, just tell us in the comments below. Callipeg Studio is available on the Mac App Store and the Microsoft Store, and it's a one-time purchase of 35 euros per operating system. Thanks a lot for watching this video, I hope it was useful, and until the next one, have fun animating with Callipeg, and Callipeg Studio, and Callipeg Mini.